Hi everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I would like to talk to you about practical acceptance and letting go. If you enjoy the channel and the content here, please like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And before we go on, just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I am just simply sharing with you the stuff I picked up in my spiritual journey and my journey of overcoming depersonalization, and I just want to give back to the world. So let's go. What is acceptance? What do I mean by this word? Well, it can mean a lot of things, right? A lot of times when we talk about depersonalization or any other mental illness, acceptance is a word that comes up, allowing the disorder to be, allowing the negative emotions to be, allowing the dissociation to be, not fighting it. So in this way, it is a very, it can be, it is a spiritual concept, allowing reality to be as it is. However, whatever shape that reality takes, whether it is something external or something internal, like our mind and negative emotions, accepting it, learning to be with it without fighting it. It can also mean being in the present moment, because by fully accepting the present moment, we are actually in harmony with life itself. We're not evading what is happening to us. We're not trying to push it away. We're actually fully resonant and fully present for whatever it is that's happening. So this is what I mean by acceptance. Another way of looking at it is the concept of letting go. And David Hawkins, if you haven't heard this name before, I'd strongly recommend looking into his work. He's a great, very spiritually evolved psychologist, and he has a whole book titled Letting Go. And essentially that's the same thing. It's looking into whatever is arising and letting go of anger, letting go of dissatisfaction, letting go of sadness, letting go of basically all of these negative things, and how that leads to spiritual evolution. And finally, when you stop resisting everything and just accept everything as it comes, without judgment, without resistance, this is enlightenment, right? But I don't want to necessarily go into such depths today, because I want to focus on practical acceptance and focus on how it's beneficial to mental health, and especially depersonalization, derealization disorder. So I wanna look at it from this point of view. So let's go. Acceptance is very important for mental health, as we already discussed, right? It can make a difference between a speedy recovery and being stuck with something for years or decades or the rest of one's life. And even on all the content on depersonalization, on the DPDR disorder, there's so much talk about how to allow it. How allowing it to be is basically the first, well, it's the most important step in order to heal. And the hard thing is to figure out what to allow, right? And to get this process going, right? So it's one thing, okay, if you understood what's happening, if you understood the nature of the disorder, if you understood the nature of, if you could actually feel it, then it could be something that you can work with. It's something that you can let go of. But what if you don't? What if you are stuck completely in this weird state of being where you're not sure what the hell is going on and you're not even real? So what do you let go of in this case, right? Well, there are several things here, right? The first thing that's important to understand is that depersonalization, derealization disorder, and other mental disorders usually come in layers. So there's some underlying issue, and then there is all the layers of suffering that are caused by resistance to that issue, right? In the case of depersonalization disorder, okay, well, the underlying layer is that everything feels weird. There's a disconnect with reality. Everything feels strange, but we're still trying to function in this reality, and it's very difficult. So we have this resistance. We have all these things that are difficult to do as a result of this, right? So we have aversion, we have pain, sometimes we have anger. Of course, we a lot of times can't feel any of those things because again, our emotions are a little bit out of whack, but it doesn't mean that those things are not there. So the path to recovery lays in unpeeling or in peeling this onion, right? And peeling these layers of these negative emotions and things that come up until we get to the core of it. And then we can start healing the core, right? And the layers can be extremely subtle. It can be something as simple as, you know, getting a symptom, going outside in the sun. You know, it's pretty bright right now, and having that make the symptoms worse. You know, being in light, having to squint a little bit. So even this is something that this practical acceptance, practical letting go can be practiced on. So how do we learn to accept, and what does it mean, right? A lot of times we think about learning to accept as just some hypothetical, you know, religious concept. And, oh, you just have to accept, to learn to love. You know, it's not something that we can actually use, and not something we can actually work with. And then, of course, we have to know what to accept, right? If we don't feel something is real, how do we accept it? And so this is what I want to talk about today. It's kind of a long introduction. There is a technique and there is a process of what happens when we are, in fact, needing to accept something, right? And so today what I'm gonna talk about is based on a bunch of different things that I tried and I read, and it's based on David Hawkins' Letting Go, the book, as well as the TWIM Method of Meditation, Tranquil Wisdom Insight Meditation. That's what it stands for, and it's a Buddhist type meditation, and I'll put some links in the description. Popularized by Bhante Vimala-Ramsey, and it's absolutely life-changing. But anyways, the concept is that every time we are in tension, every time we are in this resistance, every time there is, you know, in Buddhist terms, there's craving or suffering arising, we flex this membrane around our brain, right? So there is something that happens when we tense up. So when we face with something we don't like or something we're resisting, even if it's something like looking in the sun and squinting, there's a little bit of pressure around the head. So the first thing I want you to do is to really try to feel this tension in the head and see if you can relax it. And this can manifest as relaxing, you know, your vision, kind of relaxing the eyesight. You can feel how maybe your jaws are tense and trying to relax those. And this, in essence, is a technique of letting go, right? So we are looking at any tension, and then we try to relax it, right? And so there are a few different steps that we need to take to be successful with this, right? So bear with me here. You know, it's a little bit weird to explain, and it's a little bit weird to try it out, but it's life-changing. So, okay. Once you actually understand that there's tension there, once something negative happens, once you're averse to something, then the trick is to first release the tension. So you feel that this membrane is flexed for whatever reason. You know, it could be a thought, it could be negative emotion, or it could be simply, it just happened. You don't know why, right? So that's the beauty of it. You don't need a reason. You just notice that there's a tension there, you release it. You just kind of, there's this little thing that you do. You just go and you release it. You kind of cut the cord with it, as much as you can, you know. The next step is to relax it, and you can do that on an exhale. Release the membrane in the head. And once it's relaxed, you smile, right? And that seems kind of weird. Why would you smile? Well, you smile to bring up this subtle, wholesome feeling, right? So you kind of smile into everything. And if you don't feel like smiling, if you're feeling like crap, it doesn't matter. Smile. You know, if it doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't matter. Smile, and try to smile to your head. Try to take this feeling of smiling or whatever. It's not necessarily a feeling. Try to smile to your chest, and just do it just ever so slightly. And then once you re-smile, you can, and you released a little bit, you can go back to whatever it is that you were doing. If you're not really doing anything, you can go back to your breath, right? You can kind of go to your sensation of your breath, or you can do something else, right? But it's not really so important. The important thing is to recognize this tension as it builds up and then release it before it's too late. Because if this tension mounts and mounts and mounts and mounts, this is how we get to very negative states of being, which translate into bad symptoms, or it translates into a lot of suffering. And this can be applied to anything, anything negative. So this can be applied to absolutely anything. So this is yeah, this is a very strong technique that is hard to get right, maybe at the beginning, too hard to understand what's going on there. But then once you realize that it's all about this tension and letting go of this tension and smiling into it and doing this consistently, then some benefit can be had. And it's important to do this continuously. It's not just a practice where you sit there and you do this for an hour. It's important to, once you realize the benefit of it, to do this continuously. So you're out on the street and a car drives by and splashes you with with pot of water. Immediately you tense up. So this is when you use the technique. So the thing is, you got to recognize when you tense up, right? So this can be thought of as mindfulness, and I'll go into details about this in other videos, but this is something that you can really start doing. It is a difficult thing to explain, and this is my 4th video, I think. So I think I'll definitely have more content on this topic, but I would really welcome some comments for what is unclear and what you guys are struggling with, if you are struggling with something. So in combination with other techniques that we discussed here, like tapping, like trauma release exercises, like journaling, this can also be something very big. This is just learning to relax, and essentially relaxing into the suffering, relaxing into the pain, relaxing into all these things, and then realizing that you're still here at the end of it. You're still you, or you're still whatever it is that you feel that you are at the moment, right? Because yeah, obviously, if you're depersonalized, that feeling is not very strong, but nothing is going to change for the worse. Just allowing, that's what the practice is. And eventually, all this allowing is going to allow something deeper to emerge, some deeper level of understanding, some deeper healing that allows to start building connections between all these different parts of the self. Because right now, there's 2 parts to it, right? There's the initial shock of a depersonalizing experience that split open this self, right? But then there's the continuous aversion to whatever is that prevents it from going back together, from these connections to be established. So this practice allows to heal this aversion. So then the natural way is to back to wholesomeness. So this is something extremely important that, again, it's very hard to explain in the context of a 15-minute long YouTube video, talking to an audience that I've not met personally, but try this out, and I'll leave some links in the description. I really hope that this is easy. Well, this is followable, and this makes a difference. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to log off here. I hope that this helped. Remember, don't give up. It is possible to be happy again. It is possible to be filled with love again. It is possible to be human again and participate in this wonderful reality, even though that it's not all real as you're currently experiencing it. It is possible, all these things. We just have to continue going and believe in ourselves. Anyways, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please comment below or reach out through one of the links in the description. Remember that there is help out there. Remember that there's hope. And I'll see you guys next video. Thanks for watching.